In this video, we're going to see popular radio show host Brian Shapiro absolutely dismantle this MAGA panel on Piers Morgan's show and expose their hypocrisy and double standard when it comes to women's rights. We're going to play it through. Halfway through, I'm going to give you my thoughts, and then towards the end, I'll wrap it up with my thoughts finally.
Jojo just refuses to answer my question.
Substance of his speech.
Let me ask Brian. Brian, do you agree with what Trump did about trans athletes in women's sport? Do you agree it was unfair and impacts negatively on women?
I will answer your question directly if you could give me 45 seconds to do so.
No, I just want to answer the question.
I feel like
you can't
if you're
all
born
keep
a
doing.
man,
You can't all keep doing pre-planned speeches about something else.
I'm answering your question directly.
Okay.
I'm answering your question directly. If you're born a man, transition to a woman, I have never believed that you should be on the same playing field as a woman. However, this is not a top 5 issue or a top 10 issue in polls around the country.
Oh, it is.
No, it's not. In what poll, Piers? In what poll?
You know what it comes under? You know what it comes under?
Do any of you know a trans athlete?
Jojo, you've had your chance. You didn't answer the question. I'm talking to Brian.
Do you know one?
I'm talking to Brian. The point is, Brian, it comes under this umbrella. It comes under the umbrella of common sense, what Trump calls the common sense revolution, and he says America is no longer going to be woke. That resonated, I think, third with people in America, and here's why. Because they had that one advert, you may remember, Kamala's for they, them, Donald Trump's for you. The New York Times, a liberal newspaper, said that could have moved the needle in the election by 3 points.
Okay, so Piers, let me respond to what you just said, Piers.
Hang on, Brian. Brian, here's my second clip I want to play you. This is all the Democrats wearing pink. Democrat women. Take a look at this. Oh, they're just pictures. Okay. We've got an overlay here. This is Democrat women, including trans Congresswoman Sarah McBride, wearing pink in protest at, quote, Trump's policies, which are negatively impacting women and families. Now, forgive me, Brian, but the utter, brazen, laughable double standard of wearing pink to support...
I'm going to give you a double standard.
Hang on. Let me finish. To protest at Trump policies negatively impacting women, when they all think it's fine for trans athletes to destroy the integrity of women's sport. Explain that to me.
Sure. You talk about protecting women and the gall of them to be wearing these outfits, when in half the states in this country, a woman cannot get an abortion and in some instances has to drive to another state. Geography should have no bearing over a woman's body. So if the Republicans on this panel care about women and care about women's safety, then let's talk about the fact that in some of these states, if a woman is raped or the victim of incest, she has to be forced to have that rape baby. What I want is consistency, Piers. I answered your question. I played 2 sports in college. Yes, I agree. If you're born a man, transition to a woman, I don't believe you should be competing with women. I've been very consistent on that. However, don't tell women what to do with their bodies. Don't tell women that it's okay, you should just drive to another state. If this is about protecting women, then you guys on this panel should be with me across the board and try to be consistent for once in your life when it comes to
Boom. That is 1,000%. His last response was phenomenal. Really, really good response. And it's just so funny to see these MAGA individuals speak about consistency, because there's so many inconsistencies in their policies, in the things that it is that they believe, left, right, and center. We literally saw at the State of the Union address, Donald Trump, had everybody standing up and clapping for, that young individual who had cancer. But simultaneously, alongside that, Donald Trump is also cutting funding for people who have got cancer, for people who have got illnesses. We're literally seeing this, so many inconsistencies. They're all against, trans and stuff like this. But on the other hand, when it comes to a woman's body and doing what it is that she wants to do with her body, well, no, we are going to determine what happens and what can't happen. That's not protecting women. If you're going to protect women and that's what you're going to stand up for, no problem. But you need to do that across the board and be consistent. Let me carry on with the video, and then I'm going to give you my full thoughts at the very end.
Okay, no, Jojo, no. I'm going to... No. You don't just shout when you want to.
On this panel. I'm the woman on this panel.
As a woman on the panel, you just chose not to answer my
respond to the question.
No, you choose not to answer my questions. Brian answered my question. Therefore, he has my respect.
This is
all
what
right,
you're
I'm going to go to Michael now.
You're talking about an adjudicated rapist who brags about
if we're talking about
pussy.
not telling women what to do with their bodies, then I would encourage you, Brian, not to tell the roughly half of women in America not to go take their bodies and drive to the polling place and vote for pro-life candidates, which is what happens. I want to clarify here. You're saying that the women on the Democrat side wore pink jackets. I'll try to clear it up for you. About half of women are pro-life.
It wasn't well said.
Put it in blunter terms so that you can understand it. But if you want to tell them what to think and what to do with their bodies, I suppose that's your prerogative.
I very much understand it, Michael.
Hold on one second.
No one told them what to do or what to think. No one did that.
My question is, you're saying that the pink jackets represent the attack on women's rights, but that the only two issues we're talking about here are abortion. I'm sorry. I thought that was your implication, that there was an attack on women's rights.
No, I mean, maybe I need to clear things up for you, Michael, because don't put words in my mouth.
Why were they wearing pink? Why were they wearing pink?
Go really slow, Brian. Go really slow for him.
Okay, I'll be very clear to you, Michael, and I'll repeat what I just said, and maybe you can get the MAGA wax out of your ears, okay? I'll explain it to you, okay? There are a lot of women in this country that I speak to, apparently you don't, that believe Donald Trump is a threat to their rights. Now, a lot of different rights.
Which rights?
Abortion is one of them, Michael.
Abortion,
so, Michael, hang on.
Okay, that's what I said.
There are women in this country. Michael, I'm trying to clear it up for you.
Something called the SAVE Act, Michael.
I need another 20 seconds.
Including your pro-life women.
Okay.
Michael,
so far you've agreed
Michael,
with
hang
me.
on. Michael, I'm trying to clear it up for you, as you just said, okay?
Thank
you.
I
understand you're obsessed with this transgender issue, but even though it probably doesn't affect you in any way, shape, or form.
Okay, I'm glad you've clarified.
He's trying to answer you.
No, you were not. You were not totally right. You're totally wrong.
So I just,
you're not letting me even answer your question. You keep interrupting me.
No one can hear. If you talk over each other, nobody hears any of you. So,
let me finish, Michael.
Brian, finish your point, then Michael, you respond.
The point I was trying to make is that if the idea with transgenders and women's sports is about women's safety, which I do tend to agree with, then you should also agree with the fact that women in this country, some of whom are raped or victims of incest, are forced to have that baby. If you care about women's rights and women's safety, then let's do it across the board, Michael. Did I clear that up for you, Michael?
All right, Michael.
You cleared up that what I said was right. So I guess my question then is, if the pink represents the Democrats' advocacy of abortion and transgenderism in children, then what you're saying is that women's rights to Democrats are the right to kill their own children and to castrate the ones who survive.
Here
is that right? Do I have that right?
To kill their own children.
That's your. Don't even answer that.
That's what abortion is.
No, hold on. I'll answer it. That's your definition
it wasn't a question, it was
of what
a statement,
illegal abortion
you can answer
is.
If you like.
Okay?
But you'll let those kids grow up and get killed in a school shooting, right?
Wow. Sorry, guys. A very, very interesting video. First and foremost, I'm not sure who this guy in the middle, I think it's Michael. Is it Michael Knowles or something? I don't even know. But him right there is just the embodiment of MAGA. They're just trolls. Just trolls, such a smug individual. The way he's being, the way that he's talking, just smug. I really cannot stand these MAGA clowns and these MAGA individuals. One of the things like I've known about MAGA, and especially like I said about Donald Trump, these guys aren't really here for people. They're not really here for people, but what they will do is they will jump on anything that they believe is going to grant them favor in the eyes of MAGA. Okay, that's what they'll do. Now, all of these people know that Donald Trump is the orange demigod to all the people that are a part of his cult. He's the orange demigod, so they will follow whatever it is that he says. Now, when you've got all of these other commentators and all of these other politicians, these individuals know for a fact that Donald Trump is an idiot. They know he's an idiot. That's why you can go back in, pre-2020, pre-2016, and you can see a lot of these individuals had negative things to say about Donald Trump. Look at someone like a J.D. Vance. Look at what it was that he said about Donald Trump, likening him to Hitler. Okay, you can see it, but what these people will do, because they crave power, because they crave authority, they will bend over backwards, bend the knee, just so that they can come across to MAGA that I'm pro Donald Trump, because they know if these individuals are in favor with Donald Trump, guess what? People in their local communities, their local areas, are going to put them in a position of power. That's what it is that these individuals will do. They don't care about humans. They don't care about people, but about individuals. That's the reason as to why these guys can sit on this panel and be in uproar about having trans athletes in women's sports. But then when you flip the coin and say it's about protecting women, okay, well, what about women that are having to drive to other states just to have an abortion? Something they should have the right to be able to do because it's their body. There's so many excuses, so many justifications. Now, I don't really tend to watch Piers Morgan. I haven't liked Piers Morgan from the moment that he was on Good Morning Britain, which is a show here in the UK, and he walked off the show because he was called out by, I actually believe it was the weatherman on his show, for his hypocrisy. And then he walked off the show, and he hasn't been a host on the show since. Ever since then, I haven't been a fan of him. He hates Meghan Markle purely because of the fact that she ghosted him. And as a result of that, he has literally made it his life mission to try and go after her. Piers Morgan tries to position himself as someone who sits in the middle, but it's absolute bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. Piers Morgan is right wing. He's a Donald Trump fanboy, and you can literally see it in his biased talking points when we're literally watching his show. It's crazy to me, absolutely crazy. And he said something earlier about common sense policies. Respectfully, how can you talk about anything being common sense when Donald Trump's name is attached to it? How? This is an individual who is being done for rape. This is a convicted felon. Nothing about Donald Trump or nothing about what he says is common sense. It can't be. It literally cannot be. But guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below this video. What do you think about Brian Shapiro just exposing this MAGA panel and Piers Morgan for their hypocrisy and their double standard when it comes to women's rights? What are your guys' thoughts? Let me know in the comment section below the video. Let's have a conversation about this. If you like content like this and you've made it this far, do me a favor, give the video a thumbs up. And if you want to stick around for more commentary from an individual who's on the outside of American politics looking in, go below and drop me a subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one.